All right, main event of the evening. I want to talk about UFC Vegas 57. Mateusz Gamrot versus Arman Tsarukyan. Let me just start by saying I taped this fight today. I'm not too familiar. I wasn't too familiar with Gamrot or Tsarukyan before doing a really deep dive on tape for these guys today. I haven't really bet against or on these guys their last 3 or 4 fights. Honestly, I know a lot of people are high on Tsarukyan, but like I said, I've never really done a huge deep dive on his tape. Same thing for Gamrot. Not wasn't too familiar, but let me go ahead and start with Tsarukyan. The guy debuted against Islam Makhachev, arguably the best lightweight there is on the planet right now, at least in my opinion. Makhachev is going to beat Charles Oliveira when they fight. Just saying. And he held his own in that fight, man. It's really fucking impressive considering the kid was 23 years old, making his debut, or 22 or 23, and that was his debut fight at plus 265, and he hung in there. It's not like he got blown out of the water, so that in itself is uh, pretty good. I'm not gonna hold that against Sarukian losing to Makhachev in your debut. I think everyone's gonna lose to Makhachev in their debut. And now he's on a five-fight win streak. A lot of people thought Joel Alvarez was going to have some answers for him, and he completely shut him out. Christos Gagos, only a 2-minute fight, did him with the left hook, countered a body kick, I believe it was. Favola was a very, very good fight, a high-paced fight. Davi Ramos was another good fight. Um, so, like I said, wasn't too familiar with him, but after tape, I really, really like this kid. I think his skills translate, his tools translate to the top five of the division. And he's only 25 years old. Um, there's only one way for the kid, and it's up. Moving on to Mateusz Gamrot. I believe he was minus three something. Yeah, minus 315 in his debut versus Guram Kutateladze. Ended up going to split. I didn't. A lot of people didn't think he was in for a tough fight that night. Turns out he was. Um, has fought Holtzman, Stevens, and Ferreira, 3 finishes in a row. I looked at pre UFC tape, KSW, and just my general feelings on the guy. I mean, he's solid everywhere. He's pretty decent. I think on paper, those wins against Holtzman, Stevens, and Ferreira, they're really good, but I don't think they hold any weight as it pertains to this next matchup. Like Scott Holtzman, Jeremy Stevens, guys on the older end of the spectrum, loading up their hooks, their right hands, can be taken down. Obviously, Gamrot going into those fights had the speed advantage, and yeah, like I said, even Ferreira, I guess you can say like towards the tail end of his career. I don't know how old he is right now, but I thought Ferreira was coming on late in that fight, and before he took that knee to the stomach, and like I said, his debut was a split decision. And I watched a couple of KSW fights. I watched two of his 5 round fights. Just wanted to see what he looked like in rounds 4 and 5. I watched this Norman Park fight, and then I watched against Zulokowski. And yeah, just general thoughts. I think he's good, but I think he's got another thing coming, and I think Arman is a level above, and I don't think this is a very good matchup for Gamrot. And speaking of the matchup, let's talk about the matchup. So Arman, really good grappler. His striking has come a long way since his debut versus Makachev. I think it's on full display. Like he's got a very, very educated lead hand. His jab is crisp. His left hook or his right hook, his lead hand is very good. He's fast. He's got kicks. Um, I think if you want to get a good test, if you want to get a good look at Sarukian striking, I'd say go watch a Davi Ramos fight. And I know Davi Ramos isn't great. I know Davi Ramos is out of the UFC, but watch that fight, rounds 2 and 3, just a testament to how good Tsarukyan is at a young age. I think the kryptonite to a lot of MMA fighters in general is you get them to backpedal, you get them to back up. Um, a lot of bad things come to fruition and to the surface. A lot of guys can't fight when they're on the back foot. A lot of guys can't fight backpedaling. And you watch that second and third round, Davi Ramos he loses the first round, gets a little heated. He starts coming forward, and Tsarukyan's letting him come forward, and he's playing an excellent matador. Davi Ramos is the bull, and he got slapped around in rounds 2 and 3. And this is a 5-round fight against Gamrot, and it may sound crazy, but I think Tsarukyan actually has a cardio advantage here based on the matchup. Like I said, he's grappler first mainly, but his striking has come a long way. And excellent counters, excellent on the back foot, excellent cardio. You watch that Matt Frevola fight, a pretty high paced fight, and at the end of the third round, the dude sprints to the cage, jumps on the cage like he can go another 3 rounds in a pretty high paced fight. So even against Islam Makhachev, it's not like he got big brother a little bit, but it's not like he got ragdolled. So he just wasn't able to get his takedowns going. It's pretty hard to take down a guy like Makhachev. So but my point being, at the end of that fight, he looked pretty fresh. It's not like he was gassed. It's not like um, he took a beating or anything like that. It's just Islam Makhachev is Islam Makhachev. So even in a loss, I thought his cardio looked excellent, and I think this guy is cut out for 5 rounds championship type of fights. Um, and as far as Gamrot is concerned, the matchup, what I tried finding is has anyone tried to take Gamrot down? Because it's inevitable that Arman is gonna shoot, Arman is gonna consistently shoot, but there wasn't really too much tape of Gamrot defending takedowns. Gamrot's usually the guy shooting the single leg, uh, ducking under strikes and good timing on his takedowns, albeit against bad not bad competition, but not the best competition. Um, he's got a nice single leg, I'll give him that, but I'll tell you right now, that single leg is not going to work with any kind of consistency versus Arman Tsarukyan. And I just think that's a fact. And even if it does, I'm confident that Tsarukyan on his back can sweep. He's got excellent butterfly guard. He's got good get ups, and he's not going to lay on his back whatsoever. Um, so yeah, that's not to say like I can't say the same is what I'm trying to say for Gamrot. Like I said, there's a couple of instances where Sarukyan's on his back and we see him get back up right away. We see he's got the goods as far as takedown defense is concerned, get ups, takedown offense, his grappling, all around. Very good. But like I said, there's nothing on tape for Gamrot defending takedowns, defensively grappling. So that's kind of tough to gauge, but like I said earlier, Sarukyan's skills and tool set it translates to the top 5, it translates to the top 10. The kid is good. Um, I don't think he's gonna have any problem taking down Gamrot. I think Tsarukyan is gonna be the one dictating this fight. Where the fight's gonna go, it's gonna be on Tsarukyan, whether he wants it on the ground, whether he's, gonna stand around and strike for a little bit, he can do that. I don't think the striking is a blowout by any means for either side. I think Tsarukyan really good jab, really fast. Gamrot is a pretty good striker, but I think in this fight, the more versatile fighter is. It's obvious to me. It's going to be Tsarukyan. Um, I go back to saying I don't think the single legs are going to work here, and I have a suspicion that Gamrot doesn't have the best cardio. Um, it might sound crazy. You're like, this guy's been championship. This guy's been in a couple of championship fights. He's been 5 rounds. What are you talking about? How can you say Sarukian has a better cardio? it plays into the fact that we haven't really seen him grapple. But in that latest Diego Ferreira fight, a couple of scrambles in that first round, and towards the end of that round, he looked a little bit labored. Going into that second round, Diego was coming on. Before that knee to the body, Diego was coming on, man, and it was because of the grappling. And another fight, I'll refer to this one, Zulakowski. The dude could not stuff a takedown to save his life, but it was the one fight where I kind of saw his opponent pressing Gamrot, pushing him back a little bit, forcing a high paced fight. But the bailout for Gamrot was the single legs. No one could stop the single legs. And so it was just like every time he needed to resort to a single leg to stop to offset the power strikes and the high output, uh, Zulakowski just went down. He couldn't defend the single leg. But I've seen instances where Gamrot looks a little bit labored, and he hasn't even been in long, high-paced fights. These are slower paced fights, and it looks, to me, to my eye, looks a little bit labored. What happens when a guy grapples him? What happens when someone's taking him down consistently and he has to get back up? What happens when someone's stuffing his takedowns? It's a big question to me. What happens when someone's taking the middle of the cage and pushing him back? And all that's on the side of Tsarukyan because I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Tsarukyan's going to command the center of the cage, and I think he's going to dictate the fight, and I think he's got the goods. And I think as the fight extends, Gamrot's going to slow down. So I have my eye on a couple props for this fight. The over is set at 4.5 rounds. Currently, Gamrot is plus 240, minus 280 for Tsarukyan. Um, Over 4.5 rounds, minus 125. Fight doesn't go minus 130. But I'll tell you what I got my eye on. I got my eye on Tsarukyan in round 4, Tsarukyan in round 5. Because like I said, I don't think the cardio from Gamrot is going to hold up in this kind of matchup. No one's ever bullied him. No one's ever taken him down. I'll keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. But I think it's going to be a factor in this fight. I think as the fight extends, he's going to slow down. That cardio is going to fail him. And Tsarukyan is a championship level fighter, and he's going to drag him into deep waters. I don't know if Gamrot's going to be able to hang on, but those are crazy, crazy numbers. Plus 1,800, plus 2,500. I think it could play out to be crazy value because I think there's a shot. I think there's a shot rounds 4 and 5 late. I think Gamrot's good enough to survive early for sure. But like I said, as the fight extends, another prop that I really, really, really like in this fight, Arman Tsarukyan in round 4 or 5, or by decision. Instead of taking the minus 280, I don't think a round 1, 2, or 3 finish is that live for Tsarukyan. Like I said, Gamrot is a tough son of a bitch. He hasn't been finished. I don't think he's been finished ever in his career. Yeah, very durable. And instead of taking minus 280, you got a plus 140 right there. Tsarukyan in round 4 or 5 by decision. So those are my two best ways to attack the fight. Arman has got the goods. He's the next best thing since sliced bread. You heard it here first. I really enjoyed watching tape on Tsarukyan. Before today, I didn't know much about him. Wasn't a huge fan, but I see it now. This kid is good. This kid is only 25 years old. The future of the division, Tsarukyan is my pick. I like him to get the job done in round 4 or 5, or via 3-1, 3-2, or a 4-1 decision. It's going to be a great main event. I think Arman Tsarukyan is going to take that next step. That's UFC Vegas 57 on Saturday, and that was my main event break.